Hello everyone and welcome back to Medi Notes for Medicos. The topic that we're going to deal today is about homeostasis from physiology. The objectives are introduction, control systems, the feedback mechanisms, negative and positive feedback mechanism, and the mechanism of homeostatic regulations. Now this homeostasis is one of an important 5-mark short notes that is asked in university exams most often or frequently. So what is homeostasis? Now it is a self-regulation of our body in which the body uses some sort of control systems like our renal system, neural system, etc. to maintain the internal environment, that is an equilibrium in the body to function. So this term was coined by Walter Bradford Kennan. He described it as a capacity of self-regulation as the cause of maintenance of steady states in the body, which occurs due to the coordinated integration of various physiological mechanisms. So what is the cause of this control systems is feedback mechanism. So what are the different control systems present in our body? One is the neural control. This is the most instantaneous and most effective control mechanism. Then we have the hormonal control. It is the hormones from the endocrine organs are the most important for the regulation of metabolic functions, growth and development. Next is the renal control. Here the kidneys, they play a very important role in homeostasis. How do they play an important role? It is by the regulation of body fluids volume and the compositions. Next we have the chemical control. Under chemical control we have the pH, CO2 pressure, oxygen pressure of the body fluids, and concentration of electrolytes, etc. When we go to humoral control, it is the combination of this hormonal control over here, um, the hormonal control over here, and the chemical control. Next is the thermogenic control. Thermogenic control means it's a temperature or body temperature which is directly controlled by different enzymatic and the metabolic activities present in the body. Next is the circadian control, which is the day and night variations of our body. The center of which causes this circadian control is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is located in the hypothalamus over here. Next is the feedback mechanism. So basically there are two types of feedback mechanism. One is the negative feedback mechanism. Next is the positive feedback mechanism. We'll learn in details now. Negative feedback mechanism is usually the most common type of homeostatic mechanisms. And what happens over here is if a variable is raised above a set point, for example, if there is an increase in the amount of certain limits or certain normal values, then we would inhibit the process from happening. But if the variable is lower or it is decreases below the set value or the normal value, the inhibition by our body would be withdrawn. So what is the components of this negative feedback? So basically first we have the disruption of the homeostasis. Once the disruption of the homeostasis occurs, it is detected by a sensor. So this is a sensory receptor over here. It detects it, and then a sensory signal generation occurs. Once the sensory regulation signal generation occurs, it activates a negative feedback mechanism. Then we have another place that after the detection by the sensor, it goes to the control center activation, or we can also say it as an output signal regulation. The output signal regulation also is a negative feedback mechanism activator, after which it goes to modulation of effector senses. Here, this too activates the negative feedback mechanism. Once the modulation of the effector responses is completed, it returns to the homeostasis. Now we'll be dealing with positive feedback mechanism. Here what happens is when we see an increase in a particular set of volume than the normal value, it will further cause an increase. There we see an inhibition occurring, but here we would see a more increase in the variable, and so this is very least things that is present in homeostasis. So some of the examples are the release of oxytocin during delivery or the parturition, and then we have this LH surge during the menstruation period of women and the Hodgkin cycles and some like them, etc. For the vicious cycle, there are three variables. Firstly, it starts with a primary variable, and then it goes into the intermediate variable, and then it goes into the outcome variable. Now we'll be learning about the mechanism of homeostatic regulation. So as I said already, we can have different sorts of mechanisms in our bodies, all dependent upon the homeostasis. So some examples is BP regulation by baroreceptor reflex, and then we have the body temperature regulation. What happens over here is once the stimuli or the stress is released, then a homeostasis process occurs. There is an imbalance caused. So because of this, we have to maintain an equilibrium of the environment, and because there is a as I said, there is an imbalance that occurs. So change is detected by the receptor, and there is because of the disturbance caused, and then there is a change in the variable. Once the change is seen in the variable, we have an activation of the feedback mechanism. So how it goes, the information is sent by the efferent pathway or the efferent pathway to the control system, and then there is an output. Now the effect as a or responses is given by the inhibition or stimulation of the variable based on the type of mechanism or the feedback mechanism, like negative or positive, that's been taking place. And then once it gets affected, it returns back to the homeostasis. A variable or the balance is created, and in case there is the effects or the responses occurs and it does not return to homeostasis, there is a failure of the feedback mechanism that causes dysfunction, which leads to various sorts of diseases. So that was the video for today. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. We'll be coming with more videos based on medical terms. Till then, stay tuned. Happy learning. This is Ashna Viraju signing off for today. Bye.